Well, Jurgen, a long time since you had this feeling at Anfield in the Premier League. In your view, what happened tonight?
Oh, we lost the game, which I think is pretty... It's actually impossible to lose, but we did it, and that's my fault. So, because my job is to make sure that the boys have the right feelings, like the right amount of confidence, they make the right decisions, all these kind of things, and that obviously didn't work out for tonight because we had the ball a lot. We created some situations. That's all okay. But in the final moment, obviously our decision making is not right in the moment. That's the problem. So you have the ball in the right place, then you don't shoot, then you pass. I'm pretty sure I said the same thing last week. And the problem is something doesn't work. You have to try harder, longer, more often, and so again and again, and make better decisions. So, but it obviously didn't work out tonight, and that's what we have to admit, and nothing to say about, and that's why we lost the game.
I know the buck always stops with the manager, but why do you feel particularly tonight it's your fault?
It's always my fault. The things that don't work are, if we have a situation, so that's how we work that long together now. If I make clear which movements make absolutely sense, because it will hurt the open. How you come in behind the last line and all these kind of things, that's the job we have to do. It's not only me, it's all, for all managers the same, but that's the reason.
So the players not doing those movements, not carrying out those instructions, is that belief, do you think?
No, playing against a low block, helps a lot if you score one goal, and we could have scored that in the first half, we could have scored it in the second half, we could have scored it in plenty of moments, and we didn't. So, and that changed then for the opponent everything, because Burnley didn't come here to lose 1-0, and then maybe they open up a little bit more, stuff like this, and that changed games. But for this you have to score. It's not about, cannot make sure before the game you score 4 or 5 times. You have to score the first one, and we obviously don't score the first one, and that makes then the things difficult, because after scoring not that much for a long time, it's not that everybody feels like incredibly confident in these moments, and that's something we have to work on.
It's one goal in nearly 90 shots, or almost 90 shots now since Palace. Is that, like, for you, even knowing the players as well as you do, like almost an inexplicable stat for teams usually so free scoring?
I never thought about us like a free scoring side or unit. I always knew we have to work really hard for it. We have to do a lot of things right to become in these positions. Yes, and then you have moments when a player takes one touch and the next one is in a far ankle or whatever, far corner, and these kind of things. But that doesn't work. That doesn't happen in a moment. It's not the first time that it happened in football. It will not be the last time. The good thing is we can change it. We just have to work on it. And for tonight, on that game, we cannot work anymore. We just can use it for the next one.
Is it also true that you're not creating the quality of chances at the moment that you would normally?
But that's not. These things, that's all true. That's all true. But it's not that we don't create the chances because the players have not the ability to do so. It's because our decision making is the problem. But that's always the problem. The decision making. A good footballer, the difference between very good footballer and a good footballer is decision making. Making the right stuff in the right moment. So that's it. It's not rocket science. It's not that that there are 8 players in front of the box, 1 around the 6 and 1 stays up front. That's how it is. We know that before the game. So now it's not so difficult to come in behind that line. But when you take then the crosses too early and hope that somebody will hit a head in the box, that doesn't make sense. Second half we had a lot of good moments with Trent, especially where he was in the right place, tried to pass the ball inside, and then we are not in the right moment. And that's a feeling for the boys. They just wait for the cross and then realize when the ball is on its way, oh, it's for me, and then make that move. And it's not about how incredibly high your skill set is or big your skill set. It's only about making this decision in that moment. And we had tonight, I think the 2 biggest were everybody saw. If we score in that moment, that would have changed a lot, but we didn't, and so we left the game open and lost the game, which I have to say I can't believe that we lost it, but it's the truth, and we have to accept that.
One more thing I wanted to ask you about: what happened in the tunnel between you and Sean Dyche, because you looked very animated, judging on body language?
Yeah, but that's if he's not talking about it, I will not talk about it. So it's easy as that. I didn't start it, but it's not nothing. All good.
Okay, we'll come to that in a moment. But some really honest and detailed views for the Liverpool fans there.
I think he normally is, isn't he, to be very honest? I don't think he tells it how it is. It's not rocket science, as he says. The players have won the Champions League. The players have won the Premier League. Set all kinds of records last year. They're very good players. They're just going through a strange moment at this minute in time. Decision-making, we've said it all before. Me and Tim have said it. We said it after the Man United game. We said it after this game. We said it after the Newcastle game. They're getting in the right positions, but that choice of pass in the final third is not good enough at the moment. Picking people out, making the right decision, not going left all the time, but going right at times, just to change the aspect of the defender. You know, when I see Mo Salah running at somebody, you know he's going to cut inside and try and shoot. When I see Shaqiri running at somebody, I know he's going to go inside and shoot because he wants to play. He wants to play on his left foot. This cross is easy for Burnley. They have that all day long. Every single one of those defenders probably headed that ball 15 times today. This is easy. This is what Burnley want you to do.
30 crosses tonight, man.
This is what they want you to do. You have to be crossing it from the byline and pulling it back away from that defensive line. They had a lovely defensive line all game. They were almost holding hands. They were like that all the time. Every time you looked at them, 1, 2, 3, 4, across the back, and then the midfield is helping out. Yeah. And that is just easy for the Burnley, especially Burnley defenders, especially when Nick Pope's there as well in good form.
It was a clear game plan, and Jurgen said he knew what to expect.
Tim said it before the game.
Yeah, they're gonna force that ball wide, and they're comfortable. They want to defend the crosses. The crosses weren't in great areas, but what I'd have to say, they're a fantastic side, Liverpool. You know, and last year, team sat back with a low block, and they broke them down. Man City create more chances than that. Everyone comes to Man City and plays a low block, apart from Liverpool. But everyone comes back and defends their penalty area, but they're cute. They rotate positions. They got players who can handle the ball in the tight areas. And I think they've got a spark. They're a little bit sharper. You know, they're sharper with their movements. They got underlapping runs. They slide the ball in width for the 6-yard box and they have the ball cut back into areas. They're predictable. Again, it's a Trent outside and Robertson on the other side. And it's crossing almost in front of Burnley player. They can see the player, they can see the cross, and they're just heading it out. Far too easy. You know, you've got players like that. You've got players like Shaqiri. You've got Salah who come on. You've got certainly Sadio Mane who've got power and they can dribble. Oxlade-Chamberlain, one of his biggest assets is that he can dribble and he can take the ball. Risk the ball. Take the ball around the 18-yard box and drive. Never once tonight did I think, listen, if you could stand these Burnley players up 1v1 in the penalty area, they're going to give you a penalty. It wasn't about that tonight. I never thought they ever committed them. They didn't drop their shoulders and go the other way. Never, ever moved their body. Just shifted the body inside, like Shaqiri loads of times, and Mane, Mo Salah when he come on, and just smashing predictable shots off the left-hand side. Or they were waiting for Trent to double up there on at the height of the 18-yard box and slide predictable crosses in. It was too easy for them tonight.
You can't blame Trent or Andy Robertson because they're full-backs. You know, you don't expect them to be taking people on and cutting balls back. It's not their job because they can't do it constantly up and down, up and down. Some of the forwards, whether it's a Shaqiri or whether it's an Ox or whether it's a Mane or they have to take the responsibility on their shoulders. The way Mo Salah's playing at the moment, he's better playing on the left because he wants to go left all the time. So it's just, you know, very, very frustrating at the moment that they didn't create more quality. I mean, you know, that was a chance, of course, but it came from a ricochet back to Trent who took the shot on. Well, this was the same. Good save, that one, but they should be doing more than this. This was a great opportunity. This was. But Firmino, unfortunately, like at Manchester United, his finishing was just, you know, really, really lacking, wasn't it?
I mean, even for the champions, confidence comes into this as well, doesn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Everybody's different. Some players might be able to shrug it off. Mo Salah might be able to shrug it off. One of the other players might take it personally, the fact that there'll be criticism in the morning. Yeah. It affects people in different ways. And people will be criticised and other people will be OK, and Origi will get criticised for missing the chance, or someone else will get criticised. And sometimes, you know, because of social media and people's ability to go on it or stay off it, whatever it is, it affects various people.
Yeah. And that's why you need leaders on the pitch.
And that's why. 3 wins.
Yeah, the record's not good enough. I mean, talking about the champions, I mean, they're still in and around it, and they will be there at the end. Let's get it right. They'll be in around that top 4 and they'll be challenging. They will come back. They're too good not to. And their manager's too good not to. and he's honest as the day is long. He will stand there in front of that camera and it's my fault, right? So give him the credit. He won them Champions League. It's down to Jurgen Klopp, not the players. It's down to Jurgen Klopp that he won the Premier League. If he's willing to take the stick now, when it's all falling to pieces a wee bit, then he's got to take the credit.
That's really interesting because obviously you've experienced that. One game at Chelsea springs to mind when you were the Tottenham manager, a rather explosive interview. He could have gone that way tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his first words was, "It's my fault."
Yeah, because he's disarming the anyone who wants to interview him and load the gun. He's just disarming people straight away. He's just saying, "My fault. Anything you want to ask me, I'll give you an honest answer." He's a master at it. He's a master of the spin. He will find positives. Any situation, he will find positives. He did in his first year when he struggled. He's had all that credit last year. He won the Champions League. He won the Premier League. He has to take the credit for that. He is a top-drawer manager, and in the end, he will get it right. He's having a very difficult spell, probably the most difficult spell he's had since he's been at the football club.
Yep.
But that comes with pressure as well. And pressure of being champions.
And it comes with having big injuries as well. It's still affecting, Jota being out. People will revert back to he got injured in that game against Midtjylland when he didn't have to play. And of course, it's ridiculous because they needed to field a team of some sort. Salah played in that game. The two centre defenders being out, and it takes something away from the centre midfield. So there's all mitigating circumstances. But what he's trying to do, he's just trying to say it's none of the players' fault. It's not the front three's fault. It's not them. It's my fault. And he's hoping that narrative runs with all the press because they'll come probably all guns blazing for the forwards because of their lack of goals.
Having been in that spotlight in a post-match situation, is that clever leadership then for you, for Jurgen Klopp?
Master at the spin. He is incredible. He knows that he's sending a message out there to the fans. He's speaking to his players. He's speaking to the directors. He's sending the message, and it's always a positive message. It's not doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world. It's football. That's what he's saying. We take the knocks and we learn from them, and then we improve. And that is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to improve. They need to.
How do they improve?
But the longer it goes, Steve, this game against Tottenham now, a team who's challenging, is huge.
Yeah.
It is a huge football game. Now, the pressure, it wouldn't have been as huge if they won tonight. It's still a big game, obviously. But they cannot afford to drop too many more points. We talked about the way Man City are going at the moment. Man United, it puts pressure on. That's their rivals there at the top of the league. We know how good them two sides are. Tottenham look like they're going nowhere. Leicester, at this present moment in time, the ex-Liverpool manager in Brendan Rodgers there, he's putting pressure on them. They come. After Tottenham, they go West Ham. Is it West Ham? Then they go Man City and Leicester. All teams in and around them, they have to be taking points off these teams around them to be challenging again. Otherwise, there'll be too many ahead of them.
So how do they hit the better heights then? How do they improve to beat those teams? Next one being Tottenham.
They have to work hard, don't they? They have to work hard and put it right on the. He'll have them training hard. He'll have them sat in front of TV screens probably with the analysis saying what they've done wrong, what they should be doing better, and it's whether those players can take it in and then do it, then replicate it. They've done it before. When they were driven to success last year of the Premier League and their ability just to go out and win and win and win and win, they've done that numerous times before. It's not an unusual thing for them. It's not something that's alien to them. But for some reason, whether it's confidence, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's just a lack of belief at the moment, but they're not firing. We've seen it. You don't have to be a Liverpool fan to look at Liverpool and go, they're struggling, aren't they?
Yeah.
As I said, if it finished 0-0, it was still a terrible result tonight. Yeah. They dropped points. I said before, fair means or foul, you win this game. They've lost it.
Yeah.
So there's huge question marks to be asked, and they have to improve because they will drop more points playing like that.
Yeah. In recent seasons, I've watched Liverpool and get exhausted watching them. With their energy and the movement, 100 mile an hour, and all the time Jurgen demands that. It looks ponderous at the moment. It looks slow in the build-up, and it looks like they're thinking about it too much rather than off the cuff. Sometimes you can overcoach players. They don't have to be coached there tonight. You can tell them what they're going to come up against, and they will be pretty obvious to the Liverpool players anyway. But then you just got to let them play free. And I'm sure Jurgen did, but it looks like they're tight. They're tight and they're worried all the time. Anxious. Yeah, they know they want to be champions again. They enjoyed it last year, of course. And every time they drop points, then they start realising, they start listening to people and say, it's not easy. retaining it. It's not easy. You know, there's only a few teams can do that. And it starts playing with their minds. They need to take all the pressure away. He's trying to do that by his interview with them. He will do it on the training field and he'll send them out there. And sooner or later, he'll just click. And then they'll be back in gear. And I can see him putting a run together towards the end of the season where they don't lose many games. But they have to win them head-to-head games with the teams around them. If they do that, it's more than the 3 points. It's the confidence what they give the group.
I mean, they're glad that the fans are not in because... I mean, the fans would support them, of course, but there'd be a lot of groaning and moaning and anxiety flying around if that was a full stadium. It would be worse to lose today after the performance that they've had recently at home. So they have to pick it up. They have to dust themselves down. You know, we've played the game. We've played thousands of games. We've had bad games, good games, average games. You have to say, right, next game is the opportunity, and they've got Man United in the FA Cup. If they play, this is the opportunity to put it right. And if they don't play and they play the kids, I don't know what's going to happen. Right, once they play Tottenham and line up against the Mourinho sides, under pressure, this is the opportunity where we put it right. That's all you can do.
Because what's the most important game now?
Yeah.
For Jurgen, when he looks ahead, what's the most important game? He plays Man United, the rivals to the football club, top of the league. He plays them in the FA Cup. Does he rest players? Because he's going to need his best team to play against Tottenham. We'll see where his priorities are. You know, where his priorities lie.
He rested 2 strikers tonight, didn't he?
He rested 2 strikers tonight because he thought that the strikers what he brought in, and so did we, thought could deal with the situation. They're playing Burnley after all, and does not take it away from Burnley. They dig in, they grind, but they're workmanlike. They're a bottom of the half-table side. You should be able to beat them with your squad players. But tonight he made the changes, and he will take the criticism, and he's big enough to take it on that big chin he's got.